Hi friends, my name is Krishna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have discussed about two columnar cash book, that too with discount and cash columns. And I also explained different types of discounts and what is the importance of showing cash discount. If I don't show the cash discount, how that is going to impact our books of accounts. Why we should not show trade discount into the books of accounts. All these things we discussed in our previous video. Now, in today's video, we are going to discuss about three columnar cash book. Three column cash book. What are those three columns? How those columns are going to be there in the specimen? What is the importance of each column? And what do you mean by contra entry? In what circumstances contra entry has to be posted? All these things we are going to discuss in today's video. Clear? Let us not waste much time. Get into the subject now. Before that, I do not have student subscribers. That is the biggest problem I'm facing today. Though I have 1900 subscribers, 1900 plus subscribers, they are not from colleges. They are not from colleges. Whatever videos I'm currently taking, they are all useful for 11th, 12th, BCom, even for that matter, MBA and CA Foundation students. You guys need to start subscribing to my channel, start viewing my videos. Take my word, you will definitely get benefit out of it. If you are dissatisfied with my videos, you have every right to comment on my video, number one. Number two, the minute you start subscribing and my views are increasing, I'm promising you that I will start YouTube live sessions during weekend. Weekdays it is not possible, I have my office. Weekends I will start coming to YouTube live. Chapter wise, we discuss, clarify all your doubts. Hence, I sincerely request all students to start subscribing to my channel. It will be very, very useful for you. Right? Let us go to the presentation now. Right? Okay, guys. Let us discuss about three columnar cash book. Three column cash book. As the name specifies, three columns will be there in debit side, three columns will be there in credit side. Simple. As we discussed in double column cash book, two columns will be there in debit side, two columns will be there in credit side. That is what we discussed in double column cash book. Am I right? In triple column cash book, three column cash book, three columns will be there in debit side and three columns will be there in credit side. What are those columns? One is discount column, other one is cash column, third one is bank column. These are the three columns referred in this heading. Similar way, you see discount in credit side, cash is also there in the credit side, and bank is also there in the credit side. That means what? Discount account is there in this three column cash book. Cash account is also there in this cash book, and bank account is also there in this cash book. Three accounts got included in this three columnar cash book. Discount account, cash account, and bank account together you prepare, that is called three columnar cash book. Those are the three things available in that. Now, what is there in discount? We discussed previously, right? What did we say? Discount, what will be there in debit side as well as in credit side, right? So in cash book, while explaining, I said debit side is called receipt side, credit side is called payment side. This is what I explained when I was explaining about two column cash book. Similar way in three column cash book as well, Debit side is receipt side and credit side is payment side. This is the blind approach again. Blindly, if you want to remember, debit side is receipt side, credit side is payment side. Why? When I receive the cash, what do I do? When I receive the cash, cash comes in. So cash account debit. So when I receive the amount, that is being debited. So receipt side is debit side. Why am I saying receipt side is debit side? When I receive the cash, what comes in? Debit what comes in is applicable. Hence, I have to debit. So receipts will be in debit side. When I make the payment, credit what goes out. Cash is going out. That time what do? I write to cash account. That means cash is going out. As per real account, when the cash goes out, I need to credit it. So payments will come in credit side. Always start thinking, aligning with your journal entries. You should always start aligning with your journal entries. Then you will never forget about your subject. When I am explaining this, I don't require to prepare for my, explaining this. 3 columnar cash book. It is there in my DNA. The reason is I studied this chapter by learning the fundamentals, proper fundamentals, so that you will not forget. So that is the reason I'm trying my level best to explain the fundamentals, so that if you follow these fundamentals, the structure, whatever I'm explaining, you will never forget the subject. That is the intention behind it. So debit side we are recording receipts and credit side we are recording payments. That is what we learned in 2 column cash book and 3 column cash book, also the same thing. Now discount is debit. What discount it is? Why we are showing one discount in receipt side? What did I say in my previous video? I will give the discount when I receive the payment, when I receive the amount. I give the discount when I receive the amount. That means this discount is given when the amount is received. The discount is given when the amount is received. Discount is given is nothing but discount allowed. Discount allowed is an expenditure. Expenses and losses are supposed to be debited as per nominal account. So two ways of looking into it. Discount is a expenditure, hence I am showing that in debit side of the cash book, or I will give the discount when I receive the amount, right? So that is the reason I am showing it in this. So this is what I explained in 2 columnar cash book, that continues to be there here in 3 columnar cash book as well. So please remember, when we are showing discount in debit side, that is nothing but a discount allowed, because I allow the discount when I receive the amount. Getting my point? Similar way, go to the payment side. Here also you have a discount. I receive the discount when I make the payment. When I make the payment, I receive the discount, right? Agree with me or not? I receive the discount when I make the payment. So that is the reason the discount received is being shown in payment side of the cash book. Getting my point? So discount is shown in debit side is discount allowed. Discount shown in credit side is called discount received. So these 2 columns are clear now. Then go to the next one. Next one is cash column. Whatever debit cash you see, that is nothing but cash receipts. So here we record all receipts, cash receipts. Whatever you see cash column in credit side, they are the payments. Cash payments will be recorded this side. Guys, please remember, this also you don't require to blindly remember. When I receive the cash, I debit cash account. So debit side, all receipts will be recorded. When I make the cash payment, I credit cash to cash account. Correct? So cash account is created. So payments are being recorded in credit side. Very simple. Similar way, you have a bank column here, debit side. Any receipts to the bank in our account, please remember this. Any deposits in bank, when I say any deposits in bank account, not in some other others bank account, in my bank account, My bank account, I have an account in bank, right? Any deposits into that bank account are receipts to the bank, to my account, basically. When I say receipts to the bank account, my account in bank books will be considered as a receipt. So when I deposit something in my account, that will be a receipt. So whatever debit bank is showing, those whatever I deposit or whatever receipts directly come to the bank should be recorded here. So for bank account also, debit side is receipt side. Getting my point? Similar way, credit side bank account also you have. That means what? What do we record here? Any payments through bank. Any payments through bank will be recorded here in credit side. So, simple example. When I deposit in bank, what entry I write? Bank account debit. So, when I deposit something, I am debiting bank. So that will be receipt in my bank. That will be receipt in my bank. That means what? Receipt in my account in the bank. Receipt in my account in the bank. So bank account is debited. So debit side, whatever bank I am showing, that is a receipt side of the bank. When I make the payment, giver is the banker. So debit the receiver and credit the giver. Giver has to be created. So I write to bank account when I make the payment through bank. When I make the payment through bank, I credit to bank. So that means what will happen? My bank account is created here. So whatever I am showing payments, those payments will be recorded in credit side of my cash book in the under bank column. Under bank column. So that is how the transactions are supposed to be recorded. Once again, I'll explain. Discount debit side, whatever discounts allowed will be recorded in discount column, debit side. Whatever receipts in cash, whatever receipts in cash are supposed to be recorded in debit side of the cash column. Whatever receipts to my bank account will be recorded in bank column. Clear? Next. Credit side discount. Whatever discount I receive will be recorded in discount column in credit side because it is an income. Whatever cash payments I do, those are the payments. So I have to record it in cash column. Cash payments have to be recorded in cash column. Whatever payments I made through bank, those payments have to be recorded in bank column. Cash payments have to be recorded in cash column. Payments through bank have to be recorded in bank column. Similar way, cash receipts are supposed to be recorded in debit side of the cash column, and whatever deposits or receipts to our bank account will be recorded in debit side of the bank column. That is what we are going to record. This is not a rocket science that you can't understand. Very simple. Right? Now, another important point here is whenever we receive the check received for 500 rupees. When I receive the check, either I can deposit immediately into the bank or I might take some more time for depositing that check. Maybe after 2 days or 1 week or 10 days I can deposit that check. Are you getting my point? So let us say today is 1st January 2023. I received this check. I deposited this check on 10th January 23. Deposited in bank. This check has been received on 1st but deposited in the bank on 10th January. There are two transactions happened. One, 1st January I received the check and 10th January I deposited the check. Two different entries we need to post here. Whenever you receive the check, what comes in? Check comes in. Can we write check account? Debit? We don't write. Instead of check account, what comes in? Cash comes in. We need to treat that as cash received. When the check is received on 1st January 2023, we will debit cash account. We consider that as a cash receipt. Cash account debit to whoever is the giver. Say X given. X account credit. That means what? I received this check from X. So cash account I debited. You can say, where is the cash, Krishna? Check only, right? Yes. The assumption what we need to take here is, whenever we receive the check, that day, we need to consider the check receipt as a cash receipt. This is the important rule to be followed. Then you can credit giver, X or Y or Z, whoever is giving that check. This is the entry you need to post on first. Next, what will happen? On 10th January, you deposited this check. When you deposit this check in bank, who is the receiver? Bank. So receiver account has to be debited. Bank account you need to debit. When you debit the bank, what is going out? Check is going out. Can I say to check account? No. Previously, when we received the check, instead of check, what we did? We debited cash. So instead of check here also, we credit cash account. Why are we creating cash here? When we received the check, that time we consider that as a cash. So when we are depositing check only. But since we consider that as a cash previously, you need to consider the same here now. So when I receive the check, I debited cash. When I deposit the check, I need to credit the cash only. I need to credit cash only. Here this cash is nothing but check. I received the check and I deposited. But when I receive the check, that day I consider that as a cash receipt. When I deposit the check, that day I consider the check deposit as cash deposit. So that is the reason my entry is going to be bank account debit and cash account credit. This is how the check receipts to be considered. This is one aspect. The second aspect is, I received a check on 1st 1 2023 for 600 rupees. Same day, immediately after that, I deposited this. You can club two entries here, combined entries. What entry we can do first? When I receive the check, cash account debit 600 to X account. For example, X given that check. Cash account debit. Because why am I debiting cash here? Check received will be considered as a cash. Second thing, he deposited the check immediately, not on after 10 days or after 1 day. The minute he received the check, immediately went and deposited in the bank. So that time what will happen? What entry we write? Bank account debit 600 to cash account. Why cash account? Because when I received the check, I consider this as a cash. Now I am depositing the check, I consider that as a cash. So here you see this debit cash and this debit cash got over, cancelled. What is left here? Bank account debit to X account 600. This one entry you can prepare and close it. Or you can write these two entries also. There is no harm, there is no wrong in that. But you can club these together and make it as one single entry. This is called combined entry. Why am I preparing the combined entry here? This combined entry is being prepared because the check received on the same day the check has been deposited into the bank. These two entries generally we write when the check received date is different from the check deposit date. When the check received date is different from the check deposit date, that time we show these two entries separately. If the check received and the deposit date is one and the same, you can go ahead with this one combined entry. Guys, once again I'm saying, you don't require to write a combined entry. You can go ahead with these two entries also. There is no wrong. If somebody says wrong, please bring it to me. That is not wrong. But what I'm trying to say is you can also learn how to prepare a combined entry, right? That is the reason I'm saying you can prepare a combined entry. You can prepare a combined entry here. But if the check received date and the deposit date, two different dates, then this is how you need to follow at any cost. You can't write a combined entry that time. Are you getting my point? If the check received date and deposit date, two are different dates, that time you can't go ahead with combined entry because that check is not deposited on the same day. That has been deposited in a different date. That time you need to write these two separate entries. No alternative for you. But If the check received date and deposit date is one and the same, you can go ahead with this combined entry. Are you getting my point? This is another important rule you need to follow while preparing 3-column cash book. Are you clear? If you are not clear about this topic, please comment on my video. I am there to help you. I am there to support you guys. Right. Now we are going to get into a contra entry. What do you mean by contra entry? This is a beautiful concept. People will get confused like anything about the contra entry. No need. Contra means what? The entry which is coming both the sides in the cash book. Contra entry is nothing but one entry which is coming in both the sides of cash book. That particular entry comes in debit side as well as in credit side. That is called contra entry. Contra entry is nothing but the entry which is coming in both the sides of cash book. Simple. I deposited a check into the bank. Check received long back. I deposited the check in the bank now. What will happen? Bank account debit to cash account. This is the entry we write. Because I am depositing into the bank, receiver is bank. So debit the receiver is applicable. So I am debiting bank. Check is going out. When the check is going out, I consider that as a cash going out. Right? So to cash account. In this, bank account is debited. So debit side of the cash book, I need to write to cash. I need to write to cash. Amount where to keep. Do I need to keep the amount in cash column? Do I need to keep the amount in bank column? Or do I need to keep the amount in discount column? Where to keep the amount? That's an important point. Which account I debited here? Bank account. So that is the reason debit side I am writing to cash account. To cash account I have written. Which account I debited? Again I am asking the same question. Which account I debited? Bank account. So since the bank account is debited, I have to write this amount in bank column. Since the bank account is debited, I have to write the amount in bank column. What amount I need to write? The amount which is opposite to bank. The amount which is mentioned opposite to bank. That amount I have to put it in bank column. This is just, don't go with this example. I'm just giving you an entry here. This illustration I'll come back later. So bank account debit, cash account credit. Once again, I'm repeating this very, very important point, guys. Bank account is debited here. So I have to write it in debit side first. First rule. Bank account is debited. I have to go to the debit side. So here, debit side, you have a bank account. You have a cash account. You have a discount account. But here we are talking about bank. Since bank account is debited, I have to go to the debit side. I have to write it in bank column. Bank account is debited, hence I have to go to the debit side and I have to consider this in bank column. What I am supposed to write? I have to write to cash account. What amount I need to put in bank column? The amount which is shown opposite to bank account I have to show here. Are you clear, guys? Right. Let me tell you. Here, cash account is created. So cash account is also in this cash book. So this is the cash credit side. This is the credit side. Cash account is also there in credit side. So this transaction I have to write it in credit side of the cash book. What I am supposed to write in credit side? By bank. So by bank I'll write. Right? And which column I need to put? Since cash is credited, cash column I have to write. Since cash is credited, I have to write this amount in cash column. What amount? The amount which is mentioned opposite to cash. The amount which is mentioned opposite to cash has to be written in cash column. Now you see, this entry has come in debit side and this entry also came in credit side. So one entry has come in two sides. That is called contra entry. That is called contra entry. So when I deposit the cash into the bank, there will be a contra entry. Whenever you see that contra entry, see here, C mentioned, C. you need to mention C opposite to those two. Opposite to those two. That is an indication that this is a contra entry. People should, by looking at that, people should understand that, oh, there is a contra entry here. So this is one scenario. The second scenario is when I withdraw the cash from bank for office purpose, not for personal. For office purpose, if I withdraw the cash from bank, what will happen? Cash comes in, cash account to debit. Who is the giver? Bank. So to bank. In this case also, cash account is debited. So I have to go to debit side. Since cash is debited, I have to put this amount in cash column. And to bank I will write, and I debit the amount which is opposite to cash account in cash column. Similar way, bank account is created. So I have to go to the credit side. Bank column I have to write. By cash account I have to write. And the amount which is shown in opposite to bank account has to be shown under bank column. So in this scenario also, you got the entry in both the sides. That is called contra entry. That is called contra entry. Whenever you get this contra entry, you just need to put C opposite to those transactions, whatever you posted in LF number column. That's all about contra entry. Contra entry will come in two scenarios. One is when I deposit the cash or when I deposit the check into the bank, that time contra entry will come. Second thing, when I withdraw the cash from bank for office purpose, that time also contra entry will come. These two scenarios, you get contra entry because the entry will be cash account debit and bank account credit, or bank account debit and cash account credit. In these two scenarios, you get contra entry into the books of accounts. That time, you need to mention C without fail. If you don't mention the C, you might lose the marks as well. So you should mention C. C is nothing but contra. Contra is nothing but the entry which is coming in both the sides is called contra. Very simple. Are you getting my point? So this is very, very important. You need to understand what do you mean by contra entry, in what circumstances contra entry is going to come, and how do you record that contra entry into the books of accounts. That is what you need to understand. This is what is very simple in 3-column cash book. Nothing else. Is there any rocket science that you can't understand this 3-column cash book? Very simple and very easy. Now, let us go to the illustration. Enter the following transactions in cash book with the discount and bank columns. Checks are first treated as cash receipt. See, in the problem itself he has given. Good. Institute, they gave very clearly checks are first treated as cash receipt. That means what? When I check received, I consider that as a cash receipt only. When I deposit the check, I need to consider that as a cash deposited. That is what he is also saying. Clear? Now, let us go. Chandrika commences business with cash 20,000. I am not reading the problem, guys. Please don't mistake me, because video length is becoming very, large, and you guys don't even look at the total video fully. Full video. That is the reason I'm not reading the problem. But the best practice is first read the problem and then go to the solution. That is the best practice. Don't miss that. Because of video length, I'm cutting that reading the problem. Okay. Chandrika commences business with cash 20,000. So entry cash account debit to capital account. Cash account is debited. So debit side of the cash column you need to write. Cash account is debited. Debit side of the cash column you need to write. That is how you need to always start thinking. What I'm supposed to write? To capital account, 20,000 cash column. I mentioned this amount. Are you clear? Right. Next. He paid into current account 19,000. Current account is nothing but the account which you are maintaining in the bank. The account which you are maintaining in the bank. That means what? There are different accounts. There are current accounts, savings accounts, OD accounts. There are different accounts, you can maintain in the bank, in our bank. So he's saying he paid into current account. That means he deposited into the bank. When we deposit the amount into the bank, what entry we write? Receiver is bank. Receiver has to be debited. Bank account debit to cash account 19,000. So bank account is debited. So debit side, bank column you need to write. What I'm supposed to write? To cash. See here, to cash. 19,000 I need to put in bank column. Then cash account is created. Credit side I have to write In which column? Cash column I have to write. What I'm supposed to write? By bank, and cash column I need to put this 19,000. See, this entry has come in both the sides. Since this entry has come in both the sides, you need to put C opposite to here. That means what? You are indicating that it is a contra entry. Clear? Right. Next, he received check from Kirti and Co on account 600 rupees. He received the check. He did not say whether it is deposited immediately or not. That day he received the check. What we discussed? Whenever we receive the check, we need to consider that as a cash receipt. Whenever we deposit the check, how we need to consider? We deposited cash. That assumption you should never forget. So here check received from Kirti and the company. So when check received, what comes in? Cash comes in. That is what we assumption we take. Cash account debit and Kirti account credit. So see, cash account debit side you need to write, under cash column you need to write. So to Kirti and Co 600 we need to write. Right? Next, he pays in bank kitty company's check 600. Whatever check you received, that has been deposited. When? That has been deposited on 7th. So it is in a different date. Then the entry is bank. You are depositing in bank. Bank is the receiver. Bank account to debit, and when the check is going out, you need to consider that as a cash. So bank account debit to cash account. So entry, bank account is debited. So debit side you need to write. And where to put the amount? Since bank account is debited, you need to write this amount in bank column. What we need to write? To cash account we need to write, and bank column we put the amount. Similar way here, cash account is credited. Credit side we need to write, and where to put the amount? Cash column. What we need to write? By bank, and 600 cash column we put. So here we mentioned C. Here we mentioned C because it is a contra entry. Are you clear? Right. Next, he pays Ratan and company by check and is allowed to discount 20 rupees. Ratan and company he paid. He pays Ratan and company by check. Right? So Ratan company is the receiver. Right? How much? 330 plus 20. That means what? Ratan and company 350 you need to debit. To cash account 330. To discount credit 20, because here discount received is an income. So all incomes and gains have to be credited. Ratan is the one received the payment, so receiver is to be debited. Cash went out from our business is 330. Cash goes out, so I need to credit cash. So this is the entry. So Ratan and company is debited, cash account is credited. So credit side of the cash by Ratan and company I need to put, and cash column you need to put this 330. What did he say? By Ratan? By check, sorry. He paid by check, not by no cash. Sorry, this is bank account, not check. Sorry, not cash. He paid by check. So that means to bank account. Banker is the giver. So bank account. So this amount has to be kept in bank column. So bank column 330, and discount column you need to put it 20 rupees. Why here, not cash bank account? Because I forgot to see by check he mentioned here. That means banker has given, our banker has given this amount to Ratan and company. So banker is the giver. So banker account has to be created, not cash account. Clear? Right. Next, Tripathi and company pays into bank account how much? 475 rupees. Tripathi and company, they directly deposited into bank. So my bank is the receiver, right? So bank account I need to debit because bank is directly receiving that amount from Tripathi. So bank account is debit. And who is the giver? Tripathi is the giver. So Tripathi account I need to credit for 475 rupees. So bank account is debited here. So I need to put it in debit side. Which column you need to write? Bank column. So I need to go to bank column, and Tripathi 475 I need to write. Clear? Next, he received check from Varshi and allows him discount 35 rupees. So we received a check. When we receive the check, what we consider? We consider that as a cash. So cash account debit 450, and how much discount we gave? 35 rupees discount we have given. Discount allowed. Discount allowed is an expenditure. So discount allowed debit 35 rupees and to Varshi account. 485 rupees. This is what is the entry is. Cash account is debited. So debit side you need to write, and you need to put this amount in cash column. So two Varshi you need to write. 450 you need to put it in cash column. 35 you need to put it in discount column. Are you clear? Right. Next, he receives cash 75 and check 100 rupees for cash sale. So he made the cash sales and he received cash 75 and check 100. Here confusing. Cash received 75, check received 100. Cash received anyway, it is cash. Check received, but it did not deposit it immediately. So that also will be considered as cash only. So total put together, cash account debit 175. Why 175? 75 cash plus 100 rupees check. When you receive the 100 rupees check, the check receipt is also will be considered as a cash. That is what we discussed, right? So 100 plus 75, 175 is cash account debited, and 2 cash sales, right? 2 sales account you need to credit. So cash account is debited. So debit side we need to write which column? Cash column we need to write 2 sales account 175. This is what 175 we have written there. Are you clear? Next, he pays into bank including checks received on 15th and 20th 1000. He pays into bank. Pays into bank is deposited. So what entry we write? Banker is the receiver. Bank account debit to cash account for 1000. Are you getting my point? So bank account is debited. So debit side we need to write. Bank account is debited, right? So bank column you need to write. What we are supposed to write? To cash account. Bank column you need to put the amount, right? Here cash account is created. Credit side we need to write. Under which column we need to write? Cash is created. So cash column we need to write. How much we need to write? 1000 by bank account 1000. So we need to mention this as contra entry because it has come in both the sides. Clear? Next, he pays for cash purchase 275 rupees. Cash purchases. So purchase is an expenditure. Purchase account debit and cash goes out to cash account. This is the entry. Cash account is credited. So credit side we need to write which column we need to put? Cash column, because cash account is created by purchases and cash amount we put 275 rupees. Very simple. Then he pays sundry expenses in cash 50. Sundry expenses is nothing but an expenditure. All expenses and losses are supposed to be debited. So sundry expenses account debit and cash is going out to cash account 50 rupees and 50 rupees. This is the entry. Cash account is created. So credit side we need to write under which column? Cash column. So cash column we need to put 50 rupees and consider this as sundry expenses 50 rupees. That's all. We posted all these transactions. Right? Once this is done, you should not balance discount account. That is what I explained in my previous video as well. So discount column just total 35. Here you total 20. That's all. You should not balance. But cash account and bank account you need to balance. Here you need to keep one important point in mind. Cash account you can blindly total the debit side because cash account will never show a payment side in higher side. Always it will show it either debit side higher or both the sides equal. It will never show payment side higher value. I'm talking about cash. So first total cash debit side 21,225. Put the same total to 20,225 and deduct all these amounts. Then you get 300 rupees. This 300 rupees is cash on hand. So that you consider that as by balance carried down. Right? Similar way, bank account while balancing, what you need to do is which side is higher you need to check. The reason why I'm saying which side is higher you need to check for bank account is bank can have a credit balance also. When do we have a bank credit balance? Whenever there is a OD facility, overdraft facility or a cash credit available with our bank accounts, that time your bank account might get into a credit balance as well. Whereas cash account will never get into a credit balance. That is the reason I said while balancing cash account, you can blindly start totaling your debit balance and put the same total in credit side, balance it, you will get a debit balance in cash. Whereas when it goes to bank account, what you are supposed to do is which side is higher side you need to look into it. So here which side is higher? Debit side is higher. So debit side, if I total, it is coming to 21,075. Put the same total in 2175. Then you deduct this 330. You get 20,745 as a balance. In this particular case, you got the carry down balance in credit side. No issue. Sorry guys. So this is how the balance will be carried forwarded. And you need to keep one thing in mind. Whenever there is a body facility or cash credit facility available, that time our bank balance might show a credit balance, otherwise it will also show a debit balance, right? So that's all about three column cash book.